Moana versus the Hurricanes. So the only question mark for a player returning I had here was Sekope Kepu. I think they originally said round 3 coming back from his Achilles rupture in September, but we just heard nothing at all from him. And he's pretty vocal, he's out and about when he's close to playing. So I just worry that maybe he's a bit further back than what they originally planned with him.
Yeah, you could be right there. Like, he didn't seem like he was going too far away, and it's definitely not for form that he's not there. He's their captain, and they're really in need of some leadership at the moment. So maybe something's not right in terms of his progress coming back to the field.
Yeah, look, I think Moana haven't really looked like winning a game yet. I worry that this is not going to be their week either. The Hurricanes are getting more and more confident, particularly with Brett Cameron steering them around. I originally wrote down, what can the Moana Pasifika boys do to win this game? And all I wrote down was pray. So I don't think I'm being very, very helpful to them there. But individually, I think the players look really good. Pole and Miracle in particular in the forward pack. I think the entire back line are fantastic. I really rate the entire back line in the bench as well. So I think they just need to make sure that they can get some level of parity at scrum time first and foremost, not to get pushed around and lose that as an opportunity. And then they just need to actually work out how to kind of get some grit about their defence. Like, they don't seem that interested in holding the opposition out. They've conceded a lot of points this year, 36 points against the Ndrua, 52 against the Chiefs, 21 against the Force, who, don't score a lot of points, and 62 against the Brumbies as well. It's a very, very leaky defence. And I think Hurricanes have some strike power. Salisi Rayasi immediately comes to mind. They're going to need to really want to defend if they're going to have any opportunity here.
Yeah, they've really seemed to struggle against well-structured sides. They've stayed in close with kind of loose teams, the Fiji and Ndrua, and I wouldn't call the Force maybe very well-structured at the moment. But the Chiefs and the Brumbies really worked a way to tear them apart and open the game up towards the back end. And I think that's going to be another concern for Moana. Can they turn up and sure, start strong, but can they stay in this match for 80 minutes? Because that's something we're seeing lacking. And I mean, we definitely saw last week, they did start, with a bit of fight and a bit of mongrel, but the Brumbies found their weaknesses and started to sort of tear them apart in that final, 20-30 in the game.
Yeah, they just don't seem to be able to put 80 minutes together. I mentioned Brett Cameron. There was some criticism with our group of mates saying that he was just shoveling the ball, but he looked a lot better last week. He looked more comfortable with the players around him. He was taking it to the line a little bit more. I think he'll continue to get more and more game time. I was impressed. He was a lot better than I expected.
Yeah, look, I know we had some faith maybe at the start of the season that he could get a bit of a crack for them. He's got some experience. He is a good player, and it's just about probably getting time with the players around him. He hasn't really played with a lot of these guys. So they've given him a chance now, and I hope they persist with him and let him build into this season a little bit. He started to show that he can beat a few defenders. He was relatively solid with his assist and putting other players in positions around the paddock as well. But he isn't looking too solid in D. Not that there's huge threats if you're looking at Liliafano running at him, but if he's got Almua running at him, maybe that's a weakness for them. Just run them all at him all day.
I think that's a weakness for everyone, to be honest. Artie Sevilla been impressive since being back from his one-game ban. Peter Lackey, I think, is slowly growing into the competition. I think the big issue for the Canes at the moment, though, is their discipline. They've had 3 yellows and a red card so far. Is this just writing on the wall for Karifi? Does he still get the bad rap here? Is that how they get their cards down? Or is he a new man? He looks like a new man, to be honest.
Look, I think over time he's going to mature, and he looks like maybe he is maturing, although I think he's already been carded this year. But that was off a team penalty from memory.
Yeah,
they're clearly showing that he is their 7. They're not shifting Surveyor into that 7 role. They had EOC on the bench, I'm pretty sure, last week as well. So they're not necessarily showing that they've got a man to take the role of him. on the bench either. So I think they persist with him. But I mean, if there's a week you're going to give someone a crack to come in and shove Savea into 7, it's not a bad week to do it against Moana.
Yeah, I think they will rest a few players. I'm just looking. They have the Western Force next week as well, so they can kind of share around their rest a little bit, I think, and make sure that they don't deplete their team too much. I could see them resting one of Coles and Namua each of the next 2 weeks. I think Geordie Barrett needs a rest. I think it'll be one of those 2 weeks as well. Maybe that's the opportunity to get Braden Sullivan back into the side after he made his comeback last week. Tyrell Lomax needs a rest as well. Balin Sullivan, though, man, he's the guy I want to talk about. He was so good last year. Hard run of the ball, good short kicking game, facilitated the players outside of him who are so deadly as well. I hope that we get to see him start this week.
I hope you're right. I think the other options are Peter Amonga Jensen and Riley Higgins. I don't know if they're both fit and healthy, but really, Balin Sullivan, get the man on the paddock.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I know he's behind the brother of the best centre in the world, Billy Proctor, but he's got to start, surely. The other one is Kenny Naholo, mate. I think, I was very critical of him in our chats in the first 30 minutes. I think I said, how does someone score so many points and look so bad doing it? But, geez, he turned it around. I love when you fire up a player with some banter that they never even hear. He turned it around and looked fantastic as the game went on. And I think maybe the bus due for a rest. So maybe you give him a week off and Kinney partners the back three of Morby and who's the other one? I said Rayasi.
Yeah, look, I personally think Surveyor's having a rest every week on the field. So I think it's time that he takes a sit down on the bench or out of the side for the week. But I think it's a really good call. I think Kenny Naholo shifts to that right wing with Rayasi coming back in. And Barrett, surely, 5 weeks in a row. This is the week you want to rest Barrett, bring him back in next week. For me, that makes sense. You bring in Balin Sullivan. So we should see some chances here. If you're low in the in your draft, Harry, like yourself, that you might be able to pick up. How low are you? Out of 8 again?
I don't know, mate. I haven't checked this week. I haven't checked.
I think it's below 7. I think it's definitely below 7. Yeah, so there might be someone you can pick up this week.
Yeah. And the result, mate, Moana versus the Hurricanes. What do you got?
The Hurricanes are going to win this in a landslide. I'm going to say they're going to win it by tossing up between 28-32. So I'll say 30.
Wow. 30 points. I went 18 for the Hurricanes. I wasn't big.